Can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Barry Christian is excused. Commissioner Sean Hughes is absent. Commissioner Nance Madsen.
Here.
Vice Chair Scott Artis.
Present.
And Chair Tara McClinton Horner.
Here.
Thank you.
I got a text from Cara that she still can't see the meeting. I don't know if she can hear it.
You can see it? Okay. Have her check.
I just asked.
Okay.
Oh, now it's back on. She's
Okay.
happy. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public comment for items not on the agenda.
Good evening, commissioners and staff. My name is Patrick Band. I'm an associate planner with NVTA at the Napa Valley Transportation Authority. And I want to just take a moment this evening to update the commissioners on a planning project that NVTA is undertaking starting basically now. So as you may be aware, NVTA serves as our countywide transportation authority, performing long-term transportation planning for the county and all of our local jurisdictions, and also coordinating funding, grants, and so forth for our local communities. One of the projects that we've worked on for a number of years is development of active transportation, walking, and biking plans. In 2019, we developed and adopted, and was subsequently adopted by the City of American Canyon, a countywide bicycle plan that included plans and programs for biking paths and corridors and trails and so forth throughout American Canyon and the rest of Napa County. And in 2015, we did a very similar plan for pedestrians, filling out our pedestrian network, adding curb cuts and crosswalks and all sorts of additional amenities for pedestrians throughout our communities. We're now undertaking a countywide active transportation plan, bringing those two somewhat dated plans up to date and bringing them together into a single unified set of plans. We've retained a consultant, GHD Engineers, to help us with that process. And we're currently in the first stage, which is really data collection, looking at what our existing conditions are, assessing what types of facilities each community has, and then what types of specific, maybe local plans or policies have been adopted subsequent to the 2015 pedestrian or 2019 bicycle plans. And the reason why I'm sharing all this information is because either later this year or early 2025, we're going to be asking for your help. Initially, once we have an existing conditions report and a set of maps, to be able to look at those documents and verify that, yes, this makes sense, this is what we actually have in our community. And the reason why that's important is because we can do as much data collection as possible, and we can kind of spin our wheels for a year or two trying to get everything perfect. But you live, you work, you move around American Canyon on a daily basis. And so you know probably better than we might, and certainly better than our consultants might, exactly what works and what doesn't, where there are sidewalks, where there might be broken sidewalks or sidewalk gaps, and also within the bicycle network, where there might be bike lanes that exist or were planned, but maybe got mislabeled in an existing conditions report and things of that sort. So we're certainly looking forward to having the commission and also American Canyon residents involved in that process. Again, kind of later this year, early next year, assessing existing conditions. And then once we're done with that process, moving on to developing a full active transportation plan that is specific for the needs of American Canyon, and really building on the work that the city's done over the last number of years to encourage more people to get out and walk and bike and be active as they're getting around the city. Happy to answer any questions, and I believe we're tentatively agendized for a larger presentation, including potentially some maps and some discussion about policies and programs, either at the November meeting or maybe the first meeting of 2025. Thank you so much.
It sounds timely as we are applying for a bicycle-friendly status this year. Yeah, thank you. Any commissioner comments?
No, thanks for coming. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any public comment on Zoom?
I have Kara Vernor.
Yeah, hi, this is Kara Werner with the Napa County Bicycle Coalition. Let's see, I'm seeing my name on the screen, but I could go on camera if there was a way to do that, but it doesn't look like there is. So, I will just talk in this black box. Good evening, commissioners. I did want to let you know that we have had a very sort of initial kickoff meeting to start the Bike Friendly Communities application. And so we're excited about that. And we'll be reaching out to you and probably reporting back to you every other month or so at commission meetings. One thing I would ask, if you can fit it into your schedule, is that you read the current American Canyon Bike Plan if you haven't already. I don't believe it's up on the website. It is up on NVTA's website, and I could email the link to everyone. The plan as it sits on NVTA's website is a plan for the entire county. If you focus just on the American Canyon part, it's much shorter and I'd say, more approachable than I have to read hundreds of pages. So it's a really good foundation. And it's just really helpful in terms of being able to talk fluently about all of the different aspects of the application that we'll be working on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would love that link.
Thanks.
Okay, any other comment? Public comment?
I have no other hands raised.
Okay, public comment is closed at this time. Moving on to the consent calendar, we have the minutes of the August 7th meeting. Do I have a motion to accept?
I move to accept.
I'll second.
All in favor? Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Sorry. Oh. Oh, no, that is. Sorry, Commissioner Nance Matson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Scott Artis,
Yes.
Chair Tara McClinton Horner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, our only business item tonight is an update on the capital projects. Capital project update on no open space improvements, Green Island Road Class 1 Trail, and Wetlands Edge Enhancement.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ron Renata. I am a Senior Civil Engineer with the Public Works Department. I'm here on behalf of our Director, Erica Amon-Smithies, to provide you an update on a few capital projects that we've got looking to deliver sometime in the near future. As you noted, first one is Newell Open Space, second one is the Green Island Road Class 1 Trail, and the third item is the Wetlands Edge Enhancement Project. The staff report notes that there are 3 attachments, project plans essentially for all 3. I do have them up on the screen. They might look kind of small right now, but as I usher you through them, if you have any questions, I can zoom in, zoom out, and provide a little bit more detail. So I'm just going to go down the list of 3, if you don't mind. Is that all right? Okay. Would you like me to give you a summary of all 3, and then you pick a project you want to talk about, or do you want me to go one at a time and we discuss them?
How about we go one at a time? Can we ask questions as we go?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So first up is the Newell Open Space improvements. The project consists of asphalt paving, basically taking the dirt parking lot that's out there right now, improving it to include asphalt paving, marked spaces, ADA access for the parking lot and for the trailhead as well to the Newell Open Space Preserve. As far as the status of the project has actually been out to bid for a few weeks now. It went out to bid middle of August. We had a pre-bid meeting, I think a couple of weeks ago, where we had actually 15 contractors, which is the most I've seen come out for a pre-bid meeting, so that's really encouraging. The bids actually open tomorrow, Thursday, and if all goes well, we are hoping to award the project at the September 17th City Council meeting. And that's the quick update for where it's at. And as far as the project plans go, I apologize. When we initially put the project plans together, there are a few sheets that we had ended up taking out of the contract for this go-around, meaning the upper portion of the trail, because we're dealing with some right-of-way acquisition issues, and so we were able to package the project to be a little bit more compact, just focusing on the parking lot and the first 200 feet or so of the trailhead. Let's see here. Perhaps if I scroll down to the main parking lot, which is where most of the work is, you have it up on the screen there. If you have any questions regarding the design or anything else.
Commissioner Mattson?
Yeah, thank you for this. I had some questions. The last time this came to us, we asked about bike parking, I think, at the trailhead, and I didn't see it on the plans. I wondered if it had not been added in because where we were in the process, if that's going to come in later.
Yes, I believe that's going to come in later.
Do you know how many spaces, how many?
I have not received direction on the sizing of that,
Okay.
and so that's something we can possibly work on with Parks and Recreation. Do you have any thoughts on that as far as?
I don't know. It's typical. Later I'm going to ask you about the Wetlands Edge bike parking because it looks like there's spots for 2 bikes, which seems a little low.
Mhm.
So, but maybe Cara or Patrick can give us their expertise on that. I also wanted to ask you about the long parking spot on the bottom of the parking lot.
Yes.
You're looking at it. That's for horse trailers potentially, right?
Correct.
Are we providing a hitching post or water?
Water, yes. We're bringing in a water service, which is going to be somewhere located by where the temporary bathroom is going to be.
Okay.
But hitching posts, no.
Okay.
Okay.
And I had 2 other questions. I think they're related to the land acquisition. So the land acquisition isn't finalized yet, right? We're still negotiating that.
Correct.
So we won't be able to complete the rest of the trail until that's done.
Correct.
But I don't remember whether we have the funding for the rest of the trail yet. Do you know?
Based on the engineer's estimate and what was approved in the current capital budget, there's only enough for this portion of the project, what's out to bid.
Right, so we'll have to find that rest of the money elsewhere.
Correct.
Okay, those were my questions on this one. Thanks.
So the match grant funding from the Parks Foundation years ago was, I believe, to up to the gate. So that's changed? And how is that funding going to be used now?
I'm sorry, which grant are you referring to?
The
The state?
parks, the Community and Parks Foundation, the first, one of the big fundraisers, one of the first ones, the match grant was for that project.
I apologize, I'm not familiar with that. Looking at the project budget, our sources of funding are the Parks Impact Fee and a state grant, Park State Grant. I didn't see anything for matching from the Parks Foundation.
Commissioner Mattson?
So there was money from Canyon Estates, 150,000, and then I think it was just 50,000 from the Parks Foundation. So it may be that those are wrapped in there somewhere. Don't recall.
Yeah.
Janelle told me something about the Parks Foundation part, but I now have forgotten the details, so
Yeah,
I'm useless on that, sorry.
and I probably shouldn't say match grant. I think at one time it was, but the costs are probably different now, so it's
I
not
think it was
necessarily
to
match
continue
anymore.
the trail through the valley part of it, but costs have gone so high.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Artis?
Oh, can you remind me what is the timeline for completion, and has that changed?
As far as for this,
Yeah, for this-
work,
yeah.
I believe we're giving the contractor 30 days and to complete the work.
Oh,
And so if, let's say if we award it on the 17th, and let's say we have the contracts in place and they can begin work by early October and weather holds out,
mhm,
then we'd be hoping that by the end of the calendar year, for sure, they'd be done.
got it.
Is this the long parking spot? Is that also for buses?
I suppose so. I mean, in terms of the length of it, it seems like that would be able to accommodate it. I think the layout of the parking aisles and whatnot would accommodate
Mhm.
a bus, like a school bus or something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you. One at a time? It's one business item. I was gonna do it at the end.
Okay, so
Yeah. Okay.
Shall I proceed to the next project? Okay, great. The next project we have is the Green Island Road Class 1 Trail, which is really currently packaged up with the Green Island Road widening and reconstruction project. The project, as far as the Class 1 trail goes, will construct approximately 4,200 linear feet of an 8-foot wide Class 1 multi-use trail from Green Island Road, or on Green Island Road from Commerce Boulevard to Paoli Loop. The portion of that between Devlin Road and Paoli Loop is actually part of the Napa Valley Vine Trail. And then one thing that we didn't note here on the staff report is we tried to incorporate at the beginning of this year, or earlier this year during the spring, bicycle improvements on Commerce Boulevard. Commerce Boulevard north of North Slough, so right in front of Coca-Cola, all the way to Green Island Road. No further south because that's beyond the current project limits. And right now, so it's this section right here, I apologize, this section of Commerce. And what we've looked at different things, we've had the designer look at possibly putting in a dedicated Class 1 trail or a cycle track. It really doesn't fit the use of that roadway with the trucks. The trucks with their large turning footprints kind of really conflict with that type of design. So right now what we have is basically still the same curb-to-curb dimensions, narrowing the vehicular traffic to the middle of the road, and then having 5-foot bike lanes on the sides, and then having broader buffers, if you will, 4-foot buffers. To shield, if you will, the
Like a
bike
curb?
path. I'm sorry?
Like a curb?
Right now, it's just a striped buffer. We are playing and we're considering the ideas of putting something kind of harder as a feature. Maybe almost like those things that have the appearance of a wheel stop, if you will, like a little bump. I'm not sure if you've seen Broadway in Vallejo, just south of Minnie Drive. In fact, it's in front of Recology, I believe, that treatment that they have for the separated trail, something like that.
So there's room enough to do that?
Yes.
Okay, and is it gonna then feed right into, I just rode out on Commerce Boulevard the other day, so there's part of it that's striped. Will it feed into that striped section so that will then complete that bike path?
If you don't mind, I'm going to scroll down to where that is.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out from the plan, so I went out there.
Okay. And so this is the south end of Commerce by Coca-Cola. And so what happens is at the bridge over North Slough, it's really narrow, so there's really no room for any kind of bike provision other than, let's say, on-street, like a Class 3 or something like that. But as the roadway widens, here you could see where essentially the bike lane comes, or Class 2 bike lane comes in, and then the buffers. And those buffers, that stripe buffer, those are what I was referring to as 4-foot wide buffers.
Oh, okay. I hadn't figured out that's what it was, so
Mhm.
thank you.
Is that where you're asking about, or?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Just wondered what we were gonna do between Green Island Road and where the bike lanes officially started,
Mhm.
so, okay.
Okay, I think we're ready for the next one.
Next project?
Yeah.
I have some questions.
On Green Island? Oh,
Yeah.
continue. Yeah.
Okay, so my other question for you was, can we go back to the first slide you showed up there where it
Sure.
has the whole work area? I can't remember, I think it's page 26. Assuming you're in the meeting set, yeah. So, on Jim Oswald and Mazetta Court and Hannah Drive,
Mhm.
those three streets have no parking signs on all sides. And I wondered, are those streets wide enough to add a class 2 on the side? Or because you usually have 2 trucks going either direction on all those streets, is it not wide enough?
If I remember right, they're basically the same width as Commerce Boulevard.
Okay,
So that would seem to indicate that there would be potentially room for Class 2 bike lanes.
is it possible to consider that as part of this project?
Sure, I could bring that back.
Okay. The other option I thought of was, those sidewalks probably aren't used that well, but they're quite good sidewalks. We could do share the path type signs.
Mhm.
And, you know, if there was an issue, and I talked to Valerie today from the chamber to find out if she'd heard anything from the local businesses about whether they were worried about bike and truck, and she said she hadn't heard of anything, so she wasn't involved in any meetings that it might have come up, so I don't know if it's an issue.
The existing sidewalks are narrow, though.
Yeah,
They're just
Right,
conventional sidewalks, 5 foot in width.
yeah. So if there could be class 2, that, it might encourage people to bike to work if they see bike lanes, so.
Okay.
And then my last.
Can I ask you a question, actually,
Yeah.
in return? I heard
Yeah.
you say Jim Oswald and Mazetta. There's also Hannah.
Hannah.
Were you really just focused on the first two, or?
All 3 of them.
All three,
So
okay.
I was just thinking, there's, big employers out there, so
Mhm.
you have a number of employees that might want to bike, so. And then my other question was the transition from the class 1 at Devlin. Are there going to be like pedestrian, bicyclist buttons they can push to light up signals for the drivers? And then the same thing at the Commerce Boulevard, Green Island Road intersection where people are crossing off of that class 1?
Right, so typically, the RRFBs, the rectangular rapid flashing beacons and those kinds of provisions are at pedestrian or bike crossings that are uncontrolled, so
Oh,
like
okay.
mid-block and that sort of thing. The 2 locations you mentioned are
They're
fully
both
controlled, all-way stops. So in that sense, there's not as much of a need for them. We are, actually, so to your point, over on Paoli Loop, where the class 1 ends, there's potential, we understand there's potential for users to cross Green Island Road at that location, and so there's no stop control there. And so we are planning on putting those electronic flashers, actuated by pedestrians and cyclists at that location.
Okay. And perhaps a few bike people might want to comment later at the end, so. And that's it for me on this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Those are great comments and questions. Yeah, I'm glad to hear about the flashing lights at that intersection because I do ride my bike through there, and
Mhm.
it's nice to know that there will be something else there. Okay, moving on to Wetlands Edge.
Okay, and so on Wetlands Edge, Green Island Road, by the way. So we're looking to finish up the design. We're hoping to put the project out to bid at the beginning of October. And then, so on to Wetlands Edge enhancement. The project consists in general of the addition of a modular bathroom, shade structure, landscaping, irrigation, associated utilities, and trail improvements at the southwest corner of Eucalyptus Drive and Wetlands Edge Road. For this project, the design is essentially complete as well. I think we're just tweaking some utility locations and whatnot.
And so we're looking to prepare the bid package and hopefully put the project out to bid this fall as well. And, I believe there might have been a question about where the bathroom would be located at this location. And so up on the screen where north would be up, kind of on the left-hand edge of the project limits here where I'm circling with the mouse, that's the proposed bathroom location right now.
Is that where the current porta potty is?
The current porta potty is off here to the corner of the parking lot.
Okay.
So nearby, but not exactly the same location.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Mattson?
Thanks, thank you. It's very exciting to see this, because this has been a long time coming. Since you brought up the bathrooms, how many stalls, and are they pit bathrooms, or are they?
Let's see.
It's hard
So
to see the civil drawings, and there weren't any drawings.
it's a prefab building, if you will. And so what the project will do is basically pour a slab, and then this prefab bathroom gets brought in. It's got 2 separate stalls, and give me a moment here, and I can probably bring up here.
Okay.
This
Oh,
is
so
the-
it's a standard, like a Forest Service or
Right.
Park Service pit toilet?
Right.
Okay.
Probably similar to what we have out on Kimberly Park.
Okay,
I think that's the bathroom that it's closest
guess
to
I haven't been
in
there, but-
comparison.
okay. I did have the question about bike racks, and so I'm hoping the public will comment on what might be the right number.
Mhm.
I'm right, that, did it look like there were 2, or is it, I wasn't sure.
You know, that,
It's on the right side. It's number 12, and I wasn't sure if that was 2 bike racks or if it was just referring to bike racks in general.
bed bike rack on concrete.
Quantity 2.
Yeah. So probably 2 of those, well, actually, let's see here. So
Oh,
it's
they're
a
there.
hoop.
Thank you.
So 2 of those, and I don't know,
Okay.
how many bikes can you chain to a hoop bike rack?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. And then I had a question about the planting plan. There's a royal willow on the trees, and then there's the red willow in the shrubs. Aren't those usually trees that are near water? And I was wondering if those are appropriate for that area.
I do not have a green thumb. I'm gonna have to bring
Yeah.
that question back to the landscape architect, I think.
And then also the California buckeye uses a lot of water, so those were the 3. Oh, I'm sorry, there's another one, sorry. Barry and I looked at this together the other day, because I know he's a plant person. The Fremont cottonwood. And also cottonwood they often branches will break and fall. So I'm not sure if we really want a cottonwood there, so. I was overly impressed by the number of trees and plants and shrubs. It was like, wow, it's gonna be kind of amazing. How similar, do you know, I don't remember if I ever saw the original grant proposal. How similar is to what they put in the grant? Do you have any idea?
I do
Yeah.
not, I did
Was
not see it
curious.
either. Yeah.
So, oh, my last thing is the shed that's there. Is there gonna be some sort of security camera or alarm on it? I know 4-H got their barns and things broken into a number of years ago, and I know they've beefed up their security. I just don't know what they've done, so that might be a good question to ask them.
I can bring that back. I know that's something, that provision for security is something that we've been talking about for other facilities as well, so.
Okay. That's my list. Thanks.
I'll piggyback on that cottonwood thing. Cottonwoods tend to be messy, and they affect a lot of people's allergies. Not me personally, but I know a lot of people that have a really hard time around the cottonwoods. And also, I'd like to propose a bike locker with those racks, especially with how common e-bikes are these days, and a lot of people don't want to put those in a regular rack.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on the question of security and just see, yeah, is that not just with the shed, but just in general, is there like protocols or things that are being looked at just for with the restrooms there? Are they going to be, say, locked at night or certain hours, or some kind of low-level lighting or things like that that may go out there or is planned?
Believe it, Kimberly, I think those are on a timer as far as the
I see.
restrooms locking up.
I see.
Yeah,
Got it.
but good point, and I'll bring that back as
Yeah,
well.
the area is used heavily at night, and so with the added space and stuff, is that gonna potentially just create additional hazards or things like that that we'd want to think about?
Okay, I'd like to open it for public comment for members in the audience. Citizens in the audience? No? Okay, online?
I have
Hi.
Kara Vernor. Go ahead, Kara.
Yeah, hi, this is Kara Werner with the Bike Coalition again. Looks like a lot of work was done on these plans, and I want to say a special thanks to city staff for really trying to go above and beyond on commerce. The bike plan calls for just, a class 2, so the fact that you're looking at class 2Bs, or it sounded like maybe even a class 4 protected bike lane, or a bike lane with a vertical element in it, is very cool. So that's much appreciated. Couple things I wanted to mention. At Newell, I also did not see bike parking, and the plans looked sufficiently detailed enough that I would think that that would be on there. So it'd be really good before it goes to bid to know whether or not the city intends to put bike parking at that Newell parking lot. It's certainly something that came up at this committee before, so I think of interest, especially to OSATs. For the Green Island Road project, I am curious, since it's a road widening project, why the city decided to go with 8-foot separated path rather than 10-foot. 8-foot is considered the minimum, and 10-foot is considered preferred. So if there is a way to make that bigger, or even push it to 9 feet, I think that would be great, because again, as was mentioned with e-bikes and whatnot, if you build it, they're going to be coming, is what we think. So having more space reduces conflicts and helps those paths be safer. I couldn't tell, and it might be in there, but I couldn't tell what material was planned. And what I would ask for is to not use the same material that was used on Devlin Road, where it's much like a sidewalk. That's not great for bicyclists. It's like ka-clink, 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 ka-clink the entire time you're riding. And having just been part of the Vine Trail opening, that's really the only complaint I heard, was the sections where people were having to go over these kind of brick-like spaces. So it's a much more enjoyable riding experience with a smooth surface. I also want to tag on to Nance's really great comments. The intersection treatments there on the north side at Devlin and Commerce are going to be really, really important. I don't know if you're planning on conflict markings. That would be kind of the minimum, I think. And I think consider conflict markings across the driveways as well, that intersect with that class 1 path, because you have some really large businesses there. You have big trucks, you have a decent amount of traffic in and out of there. It's also at this point kind of a rural feeling area, and so folks may be less aware of foot traffic and bike traffic, and kind of subconsciously be just sort of in driving zone. So I'd love to hear more about the treatments that are planned for those intersections as well. That intersection across Devlin it looks like it's quite long, and I know you have large truck traffic, but if there is any way to kind of tee that up or shorten that crosswalk, I think that would be helpful for safety of active transportation folks. And then I think finally, I'm just going to add in one more thing. which is that I also want to echo Nance's comments about the bike parking. There is only 2 racks there included in the bike parking. I'm not talking about Green Island now. I'm talking about Wetlands Edge. And I do think more are needed because right now there are none. And so what you have is you have a lot of people who go and use that exercise equipment and don't have any place to lock up. And so when you put bike racks, what'll probably happen is there's a demand that you don't know about yet. Like there are people who would ride there, but they know they can't lock up. And so once they realize that they can lock up, they're going to start doing that, as well as you're putting an additional feature for the public to come utilize. So that will potentially drive up traffic too. So I think having, at least 4 of those U racks are meant for 2 bikes a piece. Though people get creative because, as we do, but I do think right off the bat, having at least 4 makes more sense for this change. It seems like a great opportunity to really encourage biking to this spot where so many people come to be healthy and to be environmental. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. If I can comment, the reference to an 8-foot Class 1 trail, it's really 12-foot overall. 8 is what's supposed to be usable. We do provide 2 feet, 2-foot, minimum 2-foot shoulders, so it's 12 feet edge to edge, if you will. And so, as an example, in comparison to Devlin Road, the concrete portion is actually 10 feet. Because what we did is on the outer shoulder, we left that paved, and then on the inner shoulder, because it's next to a landscape strip, we wanted to kind of buffer that a little bit more with material that's less conducive, or more of a deterrent, so that was just Class 2 AB on the inside.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Kara. Those are great comments. Any other comments online?
I have no other hands raised.
Okay. Public comment is closed at this time. Any other commissioner comments about that?
No, it's a great project. Oh, when is the wetlands? So you're still in the design phase of wetlands?
No, it's pretty much complete. We're just tweaking utility locations. So we think we can put that out to bid October
Okay.
timeframe.
And what's the construction time, do you think?
I'm not familiar with that detail.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the
Thank you.
presentation.
And was Kara correct? There aren't bike racks planned at Newell?
Not right now, but we can definitely incorporate that.
Yeah, I think that's very
That's not
important.
hard. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay, and there's no management and staff oral reports, so we're ready to adjourn the meeting. All right, meeting adjourned at 7:22.